Well, a good morning to you. How are you doing out there? I hope you're having a coffee and maybe a smoke of whatever you want, or I hope things are going good for you. Uh, I'm just going to do this kind of broadcast here to talk a little bit about the disclosure that I've got. So, as some of you are aware, I was charged for a YouTube video that I made on this channel. And here is all the documents that the state is going to try and use to put me in jail. Um, and as I read through these documents, the first thing I'll say to patriots out there who might find themselves in a similar situation is don't panic. When you see a big mountain of paperwork like this, don't panic. You got to read it. You got to read through it multiple times, but you can learn a lot about the enemy when you read through these types of things, if you're in this style of situation. So the pertinent things that I thought I would share with the people that follow my channel uh, is stuff with regards to the Plaid Army. These documents make it very, very clear that the Plaid Army participates and cooperates with the police forces in Canada. That's what these documents spell out in black and white. Ironically, a lot of these documents aren't going to be admissible in court, but it is interesting that they do show that the Plaid Army participates with the police. I don't know how well you can read this here. That's the writing you have to read through. That's the writing you have to read through. But initially, so that's basically stating that the initial, because there was the whole thing in Saskatchewan, right? And so the initial complaint was made by the Plaid Army people. So that's just interesting to note. And then another aspect that I found pretty interesting is this part here, where it says where it goes through the workup in the supplementary occurrence report, and this is classified as secret information. Hold on, I got a dog now. Hey, stop eating the flyer. Hey, drop it. Sorry, the dog was eating a Chinese food flyer. Hey, will you just stop? Having a dog is like having the kid with Down syndrome live in your house. You always got to be like, don't eat that. You're picking up their poo all the time. Anyways, okay. Anyways, so there was a national security investigation. So as far as I can tell, it seems like the state has spent around $300,000 in investigating me. So that's interesting. But the part that I think is interesting and of note is right here, where it says before they did the charge, they completed a CSIS deconfliction for Zog. A response was received with no issues. Well, what's deconfliction? I looked it up. Deconfliction is essentially a term used by police forces. It was coined in 1979, and it deals with agencies having overlap over one another. So they basically, what this means is that the RCMP are aware that within the Patriot movement, there are individuals that may be working for CSIS to try and manipulate the public into thinking specific ways, or who knows what for, maybe to gather information on the viewers. But the point is, they felt that they had to conduct a deconfliction. You know, uh, so buyer beware on the content, the Canadian content that you take in online. You know, because I mean, you know, okay, so that was an interesting little discovery. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Go to your spot. Hey. Hey. Spot. Sit. Lay down. Lay down. Stay. Wow, Addict makes a great comment that online Canadian content is ripe with narcs and agents of influence. Absolutely. And that's why you really have to beware of people that are all shiny and media friendly, you know, because when you're really in the know about all this stuff, it's not easy to be like super happy about it, you know. It's like, hey, isn't it great that we don't live in a free country? I love it. Love it. Not sweet. Okay. So that's the main thing. Oh, and then we should point out this other, yeah, there's these other two things that I have noted. Very clearly in black and white, Plaid Army reported SOI to police. There it is, right? So, I don't think all of them are narcs, but clearly some of them are. You know, that's because why else would they need to do deconfliction? Why else would they need to do a deconfliction? So that's something to think about. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Share this around with any of the plaid people that you know. And, you know, I challenge these guys to explain their actions, you know, because in these documents, they're saying that I was threatening to shoot judges and police, but there's nothing in the evidence that corroborates those statements, you know. And I mean, it was all live streamed and there is all video documentation of every second of it, basically. So if that's what I was saying, why was I not charged? You know, that's the bottom line on that. So little thing to think about there. Share this out with the folks, but you know, I think a debate is in order for sure. Because I know that there's some people that feel that there's like a loss of momentum. You know, I think a lot of people are expecting better direction at this point in time. And it's like I have my nerdy plan. You know, it's really boring, but it, you know, at the end of the day, that's kind of what you want. You know, you want a cohesive plan. I think the way forward is like, and this is okay. Here's my problem. If if I was in the position that Raging Dissident was in, I would be traveling around to all the different cities in Canada and do, live speaking events at different venues. I would find places to speak at and get people to gather around and do a couple loops of the country and then get people to just march en masse. And like that's not violent. That's that's the biggest thing about it that I really get upset about is what I'm talking about is fascism, and that is the purest form of direct democracy. Voting in this new plaid government uh, would be the equivalent. You would vote by having jeans and a denim jacket, and a plaid shirt, and you would just stand with random men that you never met before, and try and march. Like it's not going to be the best thing, but what I'm saying is that's how you vote. That's really how you vote, and it's not the most important thing that people have to understand is if you do it in large enough numbers of just men marching peacefully, right? Peacefully marching through the streets of their cities, that is how you can assert power and implement this new government. And yeah, I would like to be the president of this government because I fucking wrote the constitution of it and I figured out how to make it work. And that doesn't mean a tyrant. That doesn't mean an all-knowing dictator. I wrote a system with checks and balances. Uh, the bottom line is we have to get our country in a place where we're prepared to deal with the eventuality of a global war. And right now, we're not. And because we're not prepared to deal with the eventuality of a global war, it's very likely that, if things went sideways in America, we're so vulnerable, it's insane. And that, as a country, we need to change that. And I think the way to do that is to implement a Republican style government. And when George Washington was building the Revolutionary Army and everything else like that, like it was a different time. I don't think the Canadian government is the British Empire. I do think that if thousands of men were marching in streets with a similar uniform and understanding that they were marching under this constitution and the implementation of a new government, eventually the people that enforce the law and are the arbiters of the law, like the judges, the lawyers, the police, it's not that you would be killing these people, it's that they would see that, okay, this is where the consent of the governed population is. It's clearly being demonstrated en masse through the sheer numbers of people participating. And, they then would be part of, they would come onto this system. And the thing is, the system that I wrote is written in a way where it dovetails into the system that already exists. So as long as the people that are practicing, like the major stipulation is that like corrupt people, it like my system weeds them out. And you know, I think it's interesting because the police are trying to say that I've threatened to kill judges, lawyers, politicians, and police. But anybody that's really familiar with my work, they know that I advocate for a death penalty, and I advocate for a death penalty for pedophiles and traitors. So are the police admitting that these people are pedophiles and traitors? I mean, what are they? What's that really about there? I don't know. Old white guys in here. That's nice to see. Old white guy in the chat. Um, yeah, old white guy. You should when this ends, because it's going to end pretty soon, actually. Um, uh, you should go back to the beginning, because I lay out this weird stuff about the plaid. I kind of think there's some CSIS involvement with the plaid guys. So I hold up the documents from my case and everything. So that's very interesting. Anyways, I'm uh, I'm just gonna do a little bit more work on my case, and maybe we can get more people to see just a way forward for Canada that's peaceful, that has a direction of common sense, and makes our country like stronger. I feel like you don't have to be a physically strong person to want to envision a proper strong nation to defend you. Anyway, hope you're having a great day. Ciao.